Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Since it's now 2020, I thought it was, well, about time to do a new IP camera comparison video. Now, while I don't make videos about that all the time, I do a lot of testing. And I've selected, well, I have 6 models here, which I want to do comparisons for in, well, my new 2020 videos. So this will serve as a sort of introductory video, which cameras we're going to test and why. And then there will be several videos comparing several models and giving you test demo footage and stuff like that. So let's get right into that. And I have my cheat sheet here because I can't, well, I don't want to memorize all these things. So I've resurrected my my camera testing plank, if you guys remember that from a previous video, and I have some cameras on there. Now, as I said, I'm going to test 6 cameras, but I'm going to test them in, well, basically in 2 groups. So starting off, we're going to, well, this one here, this is my favorite. This is the Dahua 5831R. It's an 8 megapixel 4K camera with a vari-focal lens, and it costs around 180 bucks. Now, I started using this one in 2018, and even during my testing in 2019, this one still came out as, well, basically the top performing camera I've ever tested. And I haven't tested everything, and I mainly stick with Dahua, but from everything I've tested, and I like using 8 megapixel 4K cameras, this one really gave me the best image quality, and I have about 30 of these for the events we do and stuff like that, and I have a few at home, and you know. So to contend that, we have this guy over here. It's almost the same housing. It looks like a slightly newer version of it. It's from their light line, but it's also 8 megapixel 4K, and it also has a vari-focal lens, but it's only around $130. So this one, let me see, that's, yeah, or 140 it says in my notes. So this one is the HDW2831T ZS-S2. Now that's a whole mouthful, but as I said, basically it's their 8 megapixel contender from their light line, which is now in the same form factor as my favorite camera, because I really like these turret style in favor more than dome or bullet or stuff like that, because you get IR reflection, all kinds of issues, and you don't have that with these. So as I said, also vari-focal. It's also 4K, 15 frames per second, so not 30 frames per second like the cameras I did in 2019. But as I said, this one is only around 140 bucks, while this one is still 180. So a direct comparison between those will be very interesting. Then moving on, we have this guy, and this guy is the 4831EM ASE. It's basically from the same line this one is. It has almost the same internal hardware, except that this one has the vari-focal lens and this one does not. That of course makes it cheaper, so it's about the same price as this one, but this one does have the vari-focal lens. Of course, this one also has a version without it, but we're testing the one with it. The version without it, well, it most likely will be the same difference between this one and this one. So this will be a very interesting 4K shootout between, well, $180 and 2 that are about $130. A little bit more about the camera testing plank, I guess. There's all kinds of wires hanging out. Still have to weatherproof it a little bit. There's a 5-port PoE switch, I guess you could say, in there. It has 1 port incoming PoE, and then that it distributes that to 4 outgoing ports. Now, I did a whole video about how you can run 2 IP cameras on a single cable, and I didn't highlight this one because I was still testing it in that video, but here's some shots of the internals of the box. If you have a location where you need to run multiple cameras and you have enough PoE supply, well, this one can run 4 cameras over a single Ethernet cable, supplying it with power, including the switch. And I've tested it with zooming in, zooming out at all cameras at the same time with infrared active. That's like maximum load. and it was perfectly stable. So that makes building one of these planks very easy. But I'll have the little switch linked in the description. So it's PoE fed and has PoE out. It's a brilliant invention. Anyway, let's continue with cameras. So staying in the $130 to $140 range, we have this guy. Now, this guy is, I'm in front of my own face. This one is really something different. This is a 4 megapixel, so not 8 megapixel camera. And, well, this is the HDW 5442 TM-AS-LED. Yeah, that's a very long name, but basically what it says, it's one of their 4 megapixel cameras, which have special larger pixels to take in as much light as possible. So this is from their new full color night line and has like AI features and stuff like that. Not sure I'm going to test the AI features, but a different thing about this one is that it has, where is it? Yep, it has 2 normal LEDs instead of infrared LEDs, so you can use this as a spotlight. So I'll probably make a dedicated video about that, but from the initial testing, yes, in certain settings, this little camera can definitely show you full color pictures where all the others cannot. So that's going to be interesting. And continuing from that, I thought I'd also do a little Dahua budget shootout, I guess. This guy has been really popular over the years. It's a $60 camera, and it's the HDW 4631C. Now, this one is a little bit controversial because all of these and the other one I'm going to show you are official international models, so you can download firmware and upgrade them and stuff like that. But this one is one of those hacked Chinese models where it's basically intended for the Chinese market, comes with Chinese firmware, but the sellers on AliExpress and stuff like that, they put English firmware on there, but you're basically stuck with firmware from 2017 or maybe 2018. It's riddled with security holes and bugs. It doesn't get updated. You can't update it. And even if you do, it's just dangerous to do so because everything might go Chinese. You might brick it. Yeah. Still, it's a $55 6 megapixel camera, and, well, initial testing shows decent image quality, especially for that price. So if you know what you're doing, you're putting these in a separate VLAN or subnet and blocking them from the internet, they might be a choice. But we have one of those. And last camera is this one, and this is the official new budget model from Dahua. So this is the HDW 2431T AS-S2. It's also a 4 megapixel camera, just like the low light one, but this one is just $60 instead of the 130, 140 of all the cameras that are on the camera testing plan. So this one, well, it's definitely cheaper. It has a plastic housing, but the camera ball itself is made out of metal, and it has a little bit of simpler design. It does have IR. It doesn't have a microphone. I didn't go over having microphones of the other speakers. We'll do that in the actual comparison video. Yeah, but so this is the official international budget model for about the same price as this cheap one, 4 megapixel plastic, 6 megapixel all metal. So I can understand why people would still choose the hacked model instead of the official model, but you kind of need to know what you're doing. Anyway, as I said, this was just a quick introductionary video to show you what models will be upcoming. I'm currently thinking there will be 3 videos. So the 4K shootout with the 3 4K cameras around the $130 budget, and then probably a special video for the low light one, and then a video for the budget camera options. And I'll probably throw in footage of all cameras I've tested before to kind of showcase, like, okay, what are you giving up when using a budget model versus the low light model versus a 4K model. But we'll see that all in those videos. So if you have any questions or specific tests, let me know down in the description, because I can't think of everything myself either. And well, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you back for these videos and other videos on the channel. Okay, bye-bye.